Miami-Dade County, under the leadership of Mayor Daniela Levine Cava, is moving swiftly to expand COVID-19 vaccine distribution to protect our community and move our economy forward. Vaccine supplies are currently extremely limited, and as the state provides more vaccines to the county, we are working hard to distribute them as fast as possible. Register for vaccine updates and get more information at miamidade.gov/vaccine. Get vaccinated, Miami-Dade County. It's our best shot for a strong, healthy community.
And welcome in WDNA 88.9 FM into the Frost Jazz Hour here this first Thursday of December now as we're moving towards the end of the semester. Every Thursday morning from 11 a.m. until 12 noon, we bring in some of the premier ensembles from the Frost School of Music, as well as some personal ventures from students and faculty, past students as well, anyone who has a connection to the School of Music, the Frost School of Music, that is. But here this morning we have one of, in my opinion, the rite of passage ensembles at the Frost School of Music, a really incredible, award-winning through the years ensemble that I know during my time at Frost I was always very excited to see perform, and one that I'm very excited to see perform here this morning under the direction of the incredible Steve Rucker, who is, for those of you watching on the stream, right to my left. Thank you to everyone for listening, and whether you're listening on 88.9 or WDNA.org. Before we get into the music, I just want to mention, if you have it within your means to support the station and support beautiful live programming like this, you can donate securely at WDNA.org. It's tax deductible, and you can go so far to maintain the music community that we foster here at the station. So without further ado, introducing the Frost Funk-Fusion Ensemble, which this semester is headed by Aaron Basundiel on guitar, Trenton Klaz on keyboard, Marco Kelly on bass, and Chandler Bogomolny on drums. Their first tune, composed by the band collectively, entitled FFPT, here live and direct on 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. Live and direct here on WDNA 88.9 FM, the Funk-Fusion Ensemble, bringing the heat here on this fine Thursday morning. That's Trenton Klaas on keyboards and piano as well, joined by Aaron Basundiel on guitar, Marco Kelly on electric bass, and Chandler Bogomoni rounding out the quartet ensemble on drums. That last tune composed collectively by the group entitled FFPT. And now we're just going to move right on with the program into the next tune, entitled Sandoval Funk, this one composed by Marco Kelly, the bass player in this group. Thanks so much to everyone for tuning in so far to this point in the program. We'll be with you live and direct until 12 noon. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi, with you every Thursday morning for the Frost Jazz Hour. Without further ado, let's get back to the music. The Funk-Fusion Ensemble live and direct here on WDNA 88.9 FM. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi, with you every Thursday morning from 11 a.m. until 12 noon as we welcome in some of the premier ensembles at Frost. This morning, like I said, the Funk-Fusion Ensemble under the direction of the incredible Steve Rucker. For those of you on the video live stream, either on our YouTube channel or on livestream.com, you see him on my left. And thank you to all of our listeners, whether you be listening on 88.9 somewhere here in South Florida, or checking out the global stream on WDNA.org. We're going to step aside briefly for some important messages from the station, and we're going to come right back with some more live music until noon. Quite a bit more to go. Thanks for being with us to this point, and stick with us. We'll be right back.
Miami-Dade County, under the leadership of Mayor Daniela Levine Cava,
Direct into the Jazz Gallery here on Coral Way, WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi, with you every Thursday morning from 11 a.m. until 12 noon, while some of the premier Frost ensembles come in to grace our ears and our eyes for those of you watching on the live stream. Here this morning, we're just about halfway through the program. We have in this ensemble Aaron Basundiel on guitar, Trenton Klaz on keyboards and piano, Marco Kelly on electric bass, and Chandler Bogomolny on drums. And Chandler actually composed this next tune, and I'm going to have a chance to speak with him in just a little bit. This tune entitled Rug Juice here on 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. Funk-Fusion Ensemble, live and direct here on WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi, and welcoming on with me onto the station now the drummer of this wonderful ensemble, Chandler Bogomolny. Chandler, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your music here on this Thursday morning.
Yeah, I'm very thankful to be here and to share my music with everybody and to play and to play with such wonderful people and friends. So.
Yeah, you guys sound absolutely incredible. So real quick, before I ask you a question that I have regarding the ensemble, I just was curious about your EP release recently, the EP that you released recently, a wonderful EP. I just was hoping that you could mention it because I think it's an incredible project.
Oh yeah, thank you. So I recently released an album under the artist name Chandler Swirl and Weddings. You can find it on all streaming platforms. It is titled Dating Simulator. And it is a complete left turn from this music. It's kind of like a roots rock and country kind of thing, and quite unlike what you're hearing today. But if you like what you're hearing, then you may or may not like this album. So we'll find out. Tell me.
I can assure you, the listeners, that you'll like the EP. It's a really wonderful project. So I just wanted to ask you about that. So for this ensemble, I'm curious. In observing the ensemble in past semesters and past years in my time at Frost, it seemed as though a large focus of the group was composing and kind of working together to create a collective energy, obviously working on tunes together. You guys wrote a couple tunes on this set list together. So I'm just kind of curious how everything came together with this group specifically, and then I guess follow up to that of what the composition process was like for those couple tunes that you wrote collectively.
Yeah. So the collective compositions were pretty similar to kind of how Marco and I approached things in a previous ensemble, the Ruck Ensemble, also directed by Steve Rucker, where one person, usually Marco, would bring in a riff or some sort of idea, and then we'd kind of jam on it for a while and see if any other ideas generated organically from that. And for the two that are collective compositions, we have listed Trent on his own time went and arranged them and just got all of the ideas that we generated as a group and put them into one chart that we could all play through. So
yeah, absolutely. And something that I kind of noticed so far to this point in the set list is that there's a lot of groove shifts and getting into different places together. So was that something that you guys super intentionally talked about trying to create these different spaces, or did it just kind of work out that way with the tunes where there were so many different twists and turns?
Yeah, I don't think we ever directly talked about wanting to do that. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we just came up with some ideas and we naturally gravitate towards at least a little bit of weirdness, so kind of ended up there.
Nice. So obviously we're towards the end of the semester now, so I assume not, but I'm just curious if you guys have any other performances coming up that the listeners can check you guys out on.
Yeah, so we're going to be playing the Jazz Forum that Frost hosts actually tomorrow at 2:15. It should be on I believe the Frost Studio Music and Jazz YouTube page. Am I right about that? Yeah, I'm getting some head nods. I guess I'm right about that. So yeah.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll be sure to check that out. Thanks so much. Thanks so much once more, Chandler Bogomolny, for coming on and speaking to me. This is the Funk-Fusion Ensemble live and direct on WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour with Chandler, of course, on drums, joined by Trenton Klaas on keyboards and piano, Aaron Basundiel on guitar, and Marco Kelly on bass, with compositions from the group collectively, and then also individual compositions from Marco and Chandler, which we've heard up to this point. Marco's composition, Sandoval Funk, and Chandler's just a moment ago, Rug Juice. And of course, to mention it once more, under the direction of the great Steve Rucker, this ensemble. So now as we move forward, we're going to listen to another group, another tune composed collectively by the group entitled Bom Dogba, here on the Frost Jazz Hour. WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour, here this fine Thursday morning, the 1st of December. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi. We have the Funk-Fusion Ensemble live and direct in the Jazz Gallery here this morning. And to mention some of the upcoming programs throughout the rest of the month, next week we have another incredible member of the Frost family, Ben Thomas Taylor, coming in to perform some of his original music. That's going to be next week, Thursday, December 9th, as always at 11 a.m. And then after that, as the Frost students go back to spend some time with family over the holiday, we're going to be running some premier, incredible reruns from the past few years. First with the Stamps Jazz Quintet. That was actually very recently in September of this year. And then the week after that, we're going to jump back to 2016 for the Frost Concert Jazz Band's performance in late January alongside some incredible Uruguayan artists. And then after that, another recent performance from late July of this year, Tim Jago and Troy Roberts, as they play and celebrate their release at that time, with that performance coming a few days after their album was released. But for us here this morning, we still have some time in the program. I want to mention the musicians in this group one more time. We have Aaron Basundiel on guitar, joined by Trenton Claes on keyboard and piano. And then on bass, the low end Marco Kelly, joined by Chandler Bogomoni on drums. Wonderful ensemble. And of course, under the direction of Steve Rucker. And Steve, I know that you had wanted to avoid speaking for the day, but I just had one question that I wanted to ask you about, because you're not only a very accomplished musician, but also a very successful educator. And in my experience, I feel as though it can be difficult to find very strong percussion educators, those who are able to compartmentalize the process in an understandable way. And although I never had the pleasure of studying with you directly, I was able to learn from some of your literature in the drum class that I took, and I was very grateful for that. And then also you published a book back in 2015, some African-American sets of different funk exercises alongside of former students.
I didn't want to avoid a conversation, but now that we're in it.
Yeah, but I'm just curious about that because I have a lot of respect for you.
Shot. No,
of course,
Jonathan Joseph, a former student of mine, who became friends for years and years. We put together this book on basically African, Cameroonian-oriented rhythms, triplet rhythms, and their application to the funk idiom. So that was, it was, kind of opened some eyes, I think, here and there. And it was, it's a kind of a niche book, but I think, we got a little traction with it, and we got some great support from Modern Drummer. So I think maybe in the next 40 or 50 years, we might break even on it. So.
That's awesome, though. I definitely have to check out that book sometime. That sounds really cool. And thanks for sharing that, and thanks again for bringing the ensemble here this morning. So I think we have time for one more song here this morning on the program. Just to mention it one more time, next week, Ben Thomas Taylor coming in live and direct into the show, and then reruns for the rest of December after that before we get back into the swing of live programming moving into 2022. So without further ado, here on the Frost Jazz Hour, WDNA 88.9 FM, we're going to jump into this last tune, and then I'll actually join you, the listeners, for the Latin Jazz Quarter right after this program from 12 until 3. So as always, stick with the station, 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. Funk-Fusion Ensemble live and direct on WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi. Thank you so much to everyone once again for tuning in, whether you were listening on 88.9 FM or WDNA.org. And if you're interested in a video component and you've yet to check it out, feel free to go subscribe to our YouTube channel, WDNA Radio, or you can check out the live streams as well on livestream.com. A wonderful job done by our team here at the station. So to mention the musicians from this ensemble once more, again under the direction of Steve Rucker, an incredible musician and educator within the South Florida scene. We have Chandler Bogomolny on drums. He also composed one of the tunes in this set list. He's joined by Trenton Claes on keyboards and piano, Aaron Basundiel on guitar, and Marco Kelly on bass, who also composed one of the tunes on the set list. And then two of the other tunes were composed collectively by the group, which I had the chance to speak with Chandler a little bit about that process. Very intriguing and always exciting to see what the different funk-fusion ensembles create at the school. It's always something that I'm personally looking forward to. And also, for those of you that are pining for more from this group, you actually have an opportunity to hear them again tomorrow afternoon for the forum at the Frost School of Music. It's going to be streamed as well on the jazz program's YouTube channel, so you can check out this group again if you have an interest in listening to some more of their music. I know I certainly do. And also to remind you, the listeners and viewers, of the rest of our programming for December. Once more, next week we have the concluding live program of December. Ben Thomas Taylor coming in to play some of his live music on the station. Going to be really exciting. And then after that, we have an onslaught of incredible reruns. First, the Stamps Jazz Quintet. That's from September of this year. Then jumping back to 2016 for the Frost Concert Jazz Band. That was an incredible performance alongside some Uruguayan artists. And then closing out December on the 30th, we're going to be rerunning the Troy Roberts and Tim Jago performance from late July of this year. So with that, Philip Capuzzi signing off for the Frost Jazz Hour. I'll see you guys all next week.